What's up everybody, today I got a review for the brand new Souls-like called Steelrising from developer Spiders and published by Nikon. I was fortunate enough to be given an early code for reviewing purposes, and I'm going to be honest up front, I'm about 85, maybe 19 done the game, but I have seen what is essentially almost everything and wanted to give my thoughts on the game. And before I begin, if you like the video, consider subscribing and sharing it to give my life meaning, and hit the bell to be notified of future uploads. And now, let's dive in Steelrising. It's a next-gen Souls-like that takes place in France during the uprising surrounding King Louis, which is an insanely weird premise for a game within the Souls subgenre, and when I first saw the trailer for this game, I gotta say I was confused. However, in my 12 to 25 hours of playtime so far, well, let's just say Steelrising may just be one of the biggest surprises of 2022. For me, you play as Aegis of family automaton that sent into the heart of Paris amidst a revolution to find her creator and stop the robot uprising. When it comes to setups for a game, Steelrising for sure has one of the more unequivocal settings. But trust me, it's everything. You can choose what Aegis looks like also. It is not crazy detailed, but it's good enough. For me, you can choose from her skin tones and even what her arms look like. Also do be mindful there is no way to change Aegis look after the beginning, so be sure you like what you see before you start. You then pick a class, and honestly the only thing that really matters here is your beginning stats. All the weapons and greatness you get from each starter class can be immediately bought from the shop at any save point, and do be mindful that is off now anyway. There is no way to respect your stats, but hopefully they add it later. On classes range from a bodyguard, which is a heavy bracer that specializes in smashing robots with big weapons and solid defense. The soldier starts with a halberd, which is what I did originally science. It's all about offense, and there is the alchemist, and they are masters of elemental effects, and this is a solid big science elements. Do a ton of damage in this game. Things like fire, for example, is tremendously helpful with killing enemies. I went with Dancer, however, who is more of a glass cannon and starts with ones. Honestly though, just pick a class based on the archetype and stats you want. The weapons here don't really matter, as you will quickly get replacements anyways. There's a 6 stats in Steelrising from power, agility, durability, vigor, engineering and elemental alchemy. I just stuck to agility, durability and vigor, and I have been doing just fine. If you have played Souls-like before, this should be familiar to you. It does what it needs to do without being complicit, and I am grateful for that. In terms of difficulty, Steelrising is probably one of the easy Souls-likes of the year, and that's not a bad thing either. The game gives you so many ways to keep yourself alive that it makes the game easy, but it's still fire, and I did not even use assist mode. Either speaking of assist mode, this is an optional feature you can put on at any time that only affects your character and not the walls. You can alter the damage you take, whether you lose experience and death, how fast your stamina regenerates, and the cooling system to. Honestly, Steelrising it's pretty easy as it is, so I never bothered with this, but if you are new to the genre and need some help, well, you have it here, so that's cool. I guess it can help you in a pinch, but like I said, you probably won't need it if you're familiar with the Soul genre already. Speaking about difficulties, the bosses are not hard at all either. I don't want to toot my home too much, but I first tried every boss except one where I died because I stood on in its attack to long speaking on bosses. There's two versions of them, and don't worry, I will only show you the first major boss of the game. In the video there's many bosses which are basically super versions of normal enemies. That amid this blue mist, it's super easy to tell when a mini boss is coming up because the entire area gets below those bosses are not hard either. They cannot kill you, of course, but they are not that bad. Also, I didn't find a blue mist on some mini bosses to be distracting, which led to me not being able to read their moves as well. And then there is the major bosses known as Titans. They are the true NQ boss of the game, and here's the very first one you fight. Each Titan is a massive enemy that has their own NQ mechanics and design. They are awesome to fight even if they are pretty easy. For example, in this Titan fight, you need to stagger it before you can clap its checks, and it leads to a really fun back and force dance-like fight that keeps on your toes while not being too overwhelming either. Oh,